Welcome to Chess to Impress, and today we're going to talk about defending. Keeping your pieces safe in chess is very important. There are 4 ways to do this in chess. What are the ways that you can keep a piece safe, right? It's defending, blocking, retreating, and capturing. Since we're going to talk about defending is where you attack your own piece so that you can recapture it if it is taken. Right, in this position you can see the knight on f6 is attacking my pawn on e4. Like I said, we're just going to talk about defending. We're not going to talk about retreating or capturing. Now this pawn is under attack. Find all the ways to defend the pawn. There are many ways. For example, right, all you need to do is attack your own pawn so that the piece which attacks the pawn defends it, like per se f3. If you play the move f3, it looks like the f3 pawn is attacking your own pawn, but what it does is it's defending it. If in case the knight were to take your pawn on e4, you capture the knight back, right? Another way would be d3, right? The same thing. Or maybe like bishop d3. Bishop d3 also defends the pawn. Or bishop d5. So all these 4 moves defend the pawn. f3, d3, bishop d3, and bishop to d5, right? Okay, let's take a look at position number 2. Let me just flip the board real quick for our convenience. Yep, let me just do that. Alright, I flipped the board. My knight is in danger, correct? My knight is in danger. The knight on e4 is in danger. The rook attacks it. What are all the ways that black can defend their threatened piece? Right, let's start with the queen. Where can I move my queen to defend the knight? Let's take a look at all the possible squares. I can move my queen to c2, because if I move my queen to c2, it defends the knight on e4. I can also move my queen to c4 so that it can defend the knight on e4. Right, so let me just mark or encircle all the squares in green wherein the queen can go to defend the knight. So queen on c2 is correct, queen on c4 is correct, queen on c6 is correct, queen on b7 is correct, the queen on e5 is correct, the queen on f4 is correct, and the queen on e7. I don't see anything apart from this. If you can see, do let me know in the comments. So I'm done with the queen. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 potential squares where the queen can go in order to defend our knight on e4. Any other piece which we can use to guard or to defend the knight against the rook's attack? Yes, indeed, it's the pawn on f7. If you just push your pawn, remember the pawn can go 1 or 2 squares when you begin the game. This pawn has not moved, and since the pawn hasn't moved, you can push your pawn on maybe like a move like f4. You can put your pawn on f5, sorry about that. You can put your pawn on f5 and defend the knight on e4, right? It's all about visualizing, finding each and every possible move in order to defend the knight. Also, by the way, yes, you're right. If you saw that, the knight can also go and capture this pawn on f2 and give a check, which is really nice. I think it's the best move. Or the knight can go to f6, or for that matter, the knight can retreat. But the thing is, we're just going to talk about defending, right? Attacking our own piece so that we can guard it, right? That's all we're going to talk about. Position number 3, let's take a look at this. Very interesting position once again. The bishop is in danger. The rook on e1 attacks it. Like I said, I don't want you to retreat the bishop. I don't want you to run away with the bishop. Instead, find all possible ways to defend this bishop. Let's start with the queen, right? I'm going to circle all these squares in green where the queen can go safely and defend the bishop on e6 against the rook's attack. Take your time to pause this video for 2 minutes. Find the number of squares, or like start visualizing them. Alright, so the queen can go to a2, definitely, so that the queen from a2 looks at the bishop. So queen to a2, queen on a6, queen on b6. Both these squares, all the 3 squares defend the bishop. Queen can also go to f5 and defend the bishop. The queen can also go to d5 and defend the bishop. The queen anywhere else? No, I think these are the only squares where the queen can go and successfully and safely defend the bishop on e6. Alright, any other piece apart from the queen? Yes, there is. The king has this sneaky little square on f7. If I were to move my king on f7, the king on f7 defends the bishop on e6 against the rook's attack. If the rook were to take the bishop, I recapture the rook back with my king. So defending is when you use your own piece to attack your own piece so that it's protected. Alright, position number 4. Cool, this is super easy. You don't have to think much. The knight is in danger. Correct. So what should we do? Should we retreat with the knight? Should we like run away with the knight? Indeed not, because for example, if we were to run away with the knight, the rook on h1 falls because the bishop is pinning the knight and the bishop stands on the a8 h1 diagonal. So it is very important, super important, to choose the correct option, to block, to defend, to retreat, or to capture. Since there is no option to capture or no option to block, we can either choose between retreating and defending, but the correct option is to defend, because if you move your knight, you lose the rook, but if you defend the knight, it's just an even trade. Perfect. Position number 5. Should white retreat, block, defend, or capture? Right? Again, I repeat, this queen is attacking our bishop on f2. What is the best option? Should white retreat the bishop? That option is not possible because the queen pins the bishop. You can never leave your king exposed. See that? The device does not allow me to retreat the bishop. So that option is gone. Should you block the queen's attack? Of course not, because if you block the queen's attack, you lose your rook for nothing. Should you defend the bishop? Yes, you can do that. Yes, you can do that. You can defend the bishop in multiple ways possible, like rook f1, knight g4, king g2, king to g1, knight to d1, right? Or should you capture? Which is the best possible option? Is there a way you can capture the queen for free? Indeed. The knight on e3 can just capture the queen just like that. So it's all about the position. It completely depends on the position. Whenever somebody attacks you, choose the correct option. Choose to retreat, choose to block, choose to defend, or capture depending on the circumstances. And in this circumstance, we capture the queen. Alright, position number 6. How can black defend? Find all the ways to defend the bishop. I don't want you to run away. Alright, again, a visualization exercise. I don't want you to run away. I want you to defend the bishop in every way imaginable. Right, let's start. I can clearly see if I push my pawn to d5, my pawn on d5 supports the bishop on e4 against the rook's attack. If I were to use my rook, I can slide my rook to e8, one step towards the left, so that it can support the bishop on e4. If I were to use my knight, I can put my knight on g5, right? I think this is the best possible move, because not only does it support the bishop, but it also threatens the move knight f3, which is a double attack, and you can win the rook on your next move if they do not take care of that threat, right? So knight g5, rook e8, and d5 are multiple ways, are different ways to protect your bishop on d5 against the rook's attack on e1. And last but not the least, is it good idea for white to defend their queen, or is it bad for white to defend the queen? Of course, it is bad to defend, like by playing bishop f3, or for that matter bishop f1. Because if you defend the queen in one of these two ways, it doesn't matter, you're still going to lose your queen, and the queen is worth 9 points and the knight is worth 3 points. So it's like giving away 9 candies but only getting 3 candies in return. So whenever a piece which has more value than the piece which attacks it is in danger or is threatened to be captured, you always run away, you always retreat. So the correct option would be to play queen d1, or maybe like queen d2 or queen d3. Just move away from the knight's attack, right? You cannot defend pieces which have more value than the piece which attacks it. Alright, so that's all about defending. Choose your options wisely.